Hello, Kyle here. I am here to talk about the final episode of Obi Wan Kenobi that just dropped on Disney Plus. Now, I want to go back to what I said last week about episode 5. And, in retrospect, I think I may have been a little bit too harsh on the use or the lack of use of themes in the Obi Wan series. And I was thinking about this because as I was re-listening to the Star Wars soundtracks, I thought to myself, in A New Hope, Darth Vader didn't have a theme. So we never heard Darth Vader's theme in A New Hope. So, I guess you could say, you don't always need to hear Darth Vader's theme all the time. But I will say, to my glee, in this finale, they finally used the Imperial March. So, good on them. They also used Leia's theme, and I believe that may have been, aside from, the Obi-Wan theme, those were the only two themes used. I may have to listen it again to hear if they used the Qui-Gon theme. But, yeah, first off, I will maybe I'll try and, at first, in this review, not go into spoilers, but then kind of go into spoilers a bit more. But I don't know why you would be watching a Obi-Wan Kenobi finale review if you haven't watched the show already. So, you know what? I'm just gonna spoil it. Sorry, y'all. But I thought this was a pretty good episode. I thought that they managed to conclude things pretty nicely for this series. I thought elements of the Darth Vader Obi-Wan Kenobi duel were pretty good. I thought that the performances, especially Moses Ingram's performance as Reva in this episode, was amazing. I think that when this episode concluded, the biggest takeaway I got from this series is that I think the best part of this series was Obi-Wan's relationship with Leia. And it's something that I was a little bit concerned about when they approached it in the second episode of the series. But I grew to really, really love it. And I kind of wish that one of my criticisms earlier was that they kind of repeated themselves by capturing Leia twice in this show. If that didn't happen, I think I would have liked even a little bit more of Obi-Wan and Leia. That's the thing about this show. The 6-episode length did not help this show. I think that was definitely one of its glaring issues. This episode definitely dealt a lot with the two storylines of Darth Vader hunting Obi-Wan and Reva kind of trying to find her own identity and her own kind of salvation in this episode. The thing with Reva, though, is that I believe this show should have focused more on her and the Inquisitors than it did on Vader. And I think one of my main issues with this show was just how they handled Vader. There are a lot of people online that I've seen that have really praised this show for Vader and the inclusion of Darth Vader. But personally, I do not think they did a good job. Because I think the problem with Darth Vader in this show was that they were trying to use it as a sense of cash grab. Now, I've heard Deborah Chow wanted Vader in this show. So that's one thing. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like we needed it. Because in A New Hope, there is that, moment where Darth Vader says to Obi-Wan, "When I left you, I was but the learner, and you were the teacher." It's that is clearly establishing that the last time they saw each other was in Revenge of the Sith. And that was what George Lucas had intended. this show stretching that just so that you could have, ooh, Darth Vader in this show was a bit of a, I think, push. I really do love that Hayden Christensen was asked to return to this show, because I love Hayden Christensen. I love him as Anakin Skywalker. He is one of my favorite parts of the prequels, at least when I was a kid, especially just looking at, Anakin, Obi Wan, Padme. They were like, as a child, they were my Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker. But I do kind of wish that it wasn't, I wish they kept it a secret, because when they announced Hayden in the show, and then when they started to put Hayden on the press tour, and they started to really build up the quote-unquote rematch of the century, whatever they called it, it kind of, I think, set us up for a bit of disappointment, because we only got, let's say, maybe 3 moments with actually seeing Hayden Christensen in this show. And even the one flashback they used, I didn't think was too important. So I think that also with Vader, if you want to bring Vader into the show too, maybe establish more on what Vader is currently up to in this vast galaxy. Because I like the episode 3 where Vader is like dragging all these rebels. That makes sense. But like you have his castle. I wanted to know more about what was going on there. I feel like we have learned way more about Darth Vader in the comics than this show offered us. I also like sometimes, I don't know, the way the fights were shot, I wasn't too big on either. Like, I don't know what it was, but it sometimes felt like it was like a fan film. It didn't feel like Nick Gillard's like choreography and just the way that they shot the fights in the prequels. A lot of this show was shot with, it felt like shaky cam. It never felt like it was on a steady cam. Like, it really felt like it was chaotic, and it kind of was taking me out of the show sometimes. But I love seeing Palpatine show up at the end of this episode. I think that they are trying to show you that Palpatine's making Darth Vader not go after Obi Wan. But then it also makes me wonder, does Palpatine want someone else to go after Obi Wan? There are some questions there. I really love seeing Qui-Gon at the end of this show. I think that believe it or not, and I will give my thoughts on just the series as a whole in a little bit, but I thought that I would be so down for a season 2 just on Tatooine, exploring Qui-Gon teaching Obi-Wan about the Force and all that. That would be really interesting. But it was great seeing Qui-Gon at the end. It was great seeing Obi-Wan meet up with Luke at the end of this episode, and him saying hello there. And the Obi-Wan, I love seeing Obi-Wan do his Jedi stance, and him like really getting back into him being a Jedi. What else? I love seeing Bonnie Place back as Beru, Joel Edgerton back as Owen, Jimmy Smits back as Bail Organa. I think that the goodbye that Obi-Wan and Leia had was very sweet, very heartwarming. I loved how he told her that, like, the mother was kind, which is, I guess, how she equates that in Return of the Jedi. I wouldn't be surprised if a comic or a book goes into how she, like, maybe has seen images of Padme. And you saw a little bit of a, I guess, redemption for Kumail Nanjiani. At least he was saying that he's now been turned over. Once again, if this episode was longer than 6 episodes, I think we could have got a little bit more with, is it Haja? Kumail Nanjiani's character. And let's see if there's anything else. And the Reva thing, the Reva thing in this show, I didn't quite get, like, why is she going to Tatooine just to go after a random kid? But she does. So I don't know if, maybe she was doing that as a, answer for what Anakin did to her. That was something that I'm trying to kind of equate to myself why she just decided to go after Luke. But she didn't kill him, thank goodness. She somehow survived the lightsaber wound to the stomach, so I have no idea what Darth Vader's intention was there. But I did like the moment she had with Obi Wan. And I think I kind of see what they were trying to do with Reva. And it was that Reva was supposed to be the apprentice, I guess, Padawan, whatever she was, youngling, that Obi Wan actually could save. And that wouldn't fall to the dark side like Anakin. And I like that. I just wish that we got more of Reva in this show. I wish we got more of the Inquisitors. And this is where it goes into my overall assessment. I thought the finale was satisfying. I thought it was good. But I think that this show overall, for me personally, was a disappointment. And it's because I think that they could have elaborated more on the Inquisitors. They could have elaborated more on, just the dark side of the Force. On the other characters in the show, like Kumail Nanjiani's character, like O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character. There are so many supporting characters in this show that I don't think got the time of day in this show. Now, I also think Obi Wan Kenobi as a character could have been fleshed out even more. From the first episode, he's at a really low point in his life. And it feels like it kind of gets rushed over. It doesn't feel like he had the proper progression to become the Jedi that we used to, know. And I kind of wish we got a little bit more time with that. I would love a season 2 of this series. I would love to see Qui-Gon Jinn appear. I would love to see more of an exploration of Obi-Wan Kenobi. But that being said, I don't think this show was a bad show by any means. I think that it definitely had its merits. I think that there were many entertaining moments. But overall, I was hoping for more. I was hoping to see just more of hunting the Jedis, or the Jedi. Like, I was hoping to see, at a time in this galaxy, what is it like to live in this world. But, I think, I'm going to buy all the action figures to this show, because I think that a lot of the costumes are pretty cool. But overall, I think that the finale was pretty good. I think I liked episodes 1, 2, 3. I didn't care for episode 4. Episode 5 was good too. So, most of the episodes were good, but I just wanted more from it. So, let me know what you think of this show. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.